What's good, y'all? What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Paul Rowe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Paul Rowe and What's the Numbers I provided. Today we back with another profile piece. This one is on Fat Tone, real name Anthony Watkins. In this video we're going to take a look at his early life growing up in Kansas City, Missouri, and his love for music from a young age. Next we will look at his local music career and multiple rap albums he dropped throughout the years. And lastly, we will look at the situation surrounding Fat Tone's death and how his and Bay Area rapper Mac Dre murders are related. Anthony Fat Tone Watkins is from Kansas City, Missouri, and started rapping in grade school. He loved to rap and never really went out to play. He would just sit home and write raps all day. His first rap name was Big Bank because he was so big and loved to have change in his pocket. Growing up, Fat Tone would split time staying in South Kansas City with his mother and on 50th Street in Euclid in the Blue Hills neighborhood with his grandmother. The area in which his grandmother lived was known to have a strong gang presence, and eventually Fat Tone would become affiliated and start running with the 51st Street Crips. In 2001, as he was turning 20, Tone scraped together some cash and went to California to work with a Sacramento rapper named Daniel Killer Tay Curtis. While in California, Tone recorded his first CD named Killer Tay Presents Fat Tone the Vet. The album would give him instant credibility in his hometown in Kansas City. Tone would work extremely hard to promote and distribute his first CD. He went on road trips to other nearby cities and towns where he would pass out posters and sell CDs out his trunk. But in 2001, shortly after his trip to California, Tone was arrested and charged with double homicide in connection with a drive-by shooting that killed a pregnant woman and her unborn baby. He spent 9 months in jail before the charges were dismissed. Prosecutors claimed that the witnesses refused to cooperate. After being released from jail, Tone released his second album. This one was also produced by Killer Tay and was titled The Stick-Up Kid. On some songs on the album, Fat Tone would rap about the murder charges he was arrested for and how he felt about the whole situation. Fast forward a few months later to the early morning hours of October 17, 2003. Fat Tone would find himself the victim of a shooting after leaving a radio station in Kansas City where he was doing a promo interview for a show he had later that night at the Millennium Club. The story was that shortly after 3 a.m., Tone and 4 other men climbed into a Ford Excursion and drove away from the radio station. Concert promoter Chris Littlejohn was driving and had turned south on Main Street from Westport Road when a black Ford F-150 pickup pulled up beside him. The two people in the truck opened fire with a handgun and an assault rifle. Littlejohn said he gunned the engine and raced down the street, bullets and glass flying everywhere. He stopped a block or two down as the black pickup truck sped away with its headlights off. Tone, who had been sitting behind Littlejohn, was the only one hurt. He had been shot in the leg and the back and was taken to the hospital. Kansas City police were never able to find out who was responsible for the shooting. The attempt on his life would change Fat Tone a bit. He became more leery of his surroundings and made sure he remained on point to watch the people around him at any given time. But musically, Tone wouldn't miss a beat. His next album, titled I'ma Getcha, included a photo of him in his hospital bed flipping the bird on the cover. He traveled more often with that album, hitting up cities like Dallas, New York, and Las Vegas to promote his music in hopes of signing a major record label deal in the future. In October of 2004, like many times before, rappers from the Bay Area, California would be in Kansas City to perform at a show. Mac Dre, whose music was starting to be recognized nationally as a subgenre of rap called hyphy, or the hyphy movement, was very popular in Kansas City and was looked at as the leader of the movement. Dre decided to stay in Kansas City after most of the other Bay Area rappers chose to leave town after the show because he had booked a club walkthrough for the next night. After leaving this engagement, Mac Dre and his driver were driving on the highway when a black Infiniti pulled up along the driver's side and opened fire with what is believed to be an assault rifle. The van Dre was riding in plowed across a grass median and into oncoming southbound lanes, where it would roll over and come to rest on his wheels at the bottom of an embankment. Mac Dre was thrown from the wreckage but was determined to have died as a result of multiple gunshot wounds. He was 34 years old. In the following days, police detectives would hear a lot of rumors about who was responsible for Mac Dre's death. Local rappers like Tech Nine and Rich the Factor names came up, but no name came up more often than Fat Tone's. Even though Tone was cleared by the authorities of being involved in Mac Dre's murder after he produced the airtight alibi, the streets were still talking and pointing the finger at him. So much that the lead investigator on the case even called Fat Tone into police headquarters to warn him of likely retaliation. Months after Mac Dre's murder, Andre Mac Minister Dow, a rapper from San Francisco, California, started cozying up to Tone. They met in March of 2005 while Tone was visiting Las Vegas. Mac Minister seemed to have good connections in the music business and convinced Tone that he could get his music heard by bigger artists like 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg. The two of them would travel to New York together, where Tone would meet rappers like T.I., Little Scrappy, and Young Buck during his trip. Next for Tone will be a trip to Las Vegas in May of 2005. This time, Mac Minister promised to introduce him to Snoop Dogg at an upcoming show he was promoting for him at the MGM Grand. Eager to take his career to the next level, Tone would head to Vegas. Allegedly, while out there, Tone became irritated with Minister after repeated requests for cash and jewelry. He felt they were squeezing him. After the show, Fat Tone and a friend of his named Jermaine Cowboy Atkins are on MGM Grand Hotel video cameras leaving the hotel with Mac Minister. 80 minutes later, they were killed, shot multiple times by an AK-47 and left in an undeveloped cul-de-sac. Cowboy was found in the street and Tone in a 1992 Toyota Tercel. Tone was just 24 and Cowboy just 22 at the time. Just a few months later, an indictment and warrant for the arrest of Andre Mac Minister Dow and Jason Colio Mathis for the murders of Fat Tone and Cowboy were released. The two would go on the run, but eventually Mathis would get arrested first, and then Mac Minister was caught after being featured on an episode of America's Most Wanted. They were taken to trial and both be found guilty of the murders of Fat Tone and Cowboy and were sentenced to 4 life sentences each. During the trial, prosecutors would say that the killings were motivated by revenge, as Mac Minister and Cowboy felt Fat Tone was responsible for the murder of Mac Dre. In recent interviews, rappers from the Bay Area and Kansas City will all go on record and say that Fat Tone didn't have nothing to do with Mac Dre's murder. Even local law enforcement says the same thing. But yo, it's What's the Numbers TV. There's a quick profile piece on Fat Tone out of Kansas City, Missouri. Some of y'all might remember who he is, some of y'all might not. Now the reason I'm doing this video because there's not too much info as far as like on Fat Tone, as far as like him before rap, or the different music he released as a rapper, or even the situation surrounding his death. Now Mac Dre, some of y'all might remember Mac Dre from before he got killed or remember when he got killed. He was basically out of Oakland, California, one of the biggest rappers out of there at the time, still held in a high regard till today. And he was the leader and the founder of the whole hyphy movement. He the one that kicked the door down, had the whole Thiz movement. And a lot of Bay Area and Oakland rappers got down with the movement after, but Mac Dre was the leader and the founder and the one who started the whole wave off. So supposedly there's a song on the internet where they say Fat Tone admitted to killing Mac Dre. That's not true. You can't find a song nowhere on the internet, not on YouTube. It just doesn't exist. But what Fat Tone did have was a record where he was acting like a hater in the video, basically accusing himself of the murder. And in the song he says basically like, I knew Mac Dre, we used to hang out, have a good time. Mac Dre was even on my first album, but he was on Killer Tone's first album. He was on Fat Tone's first album. You know, the one that was produced by Killer Tay out of Sacramento. He was on his first album, so they had a relationship. They knew each other. And Fat Tone really didn't have no reason to kill Mac Dre. You understand? But supposedly the streets felt differently because he was killed behind Mac Dre's murder. Mac Minister and his accomplice are convicted of killing Fat Tone and Cowboy behind Mac Dre. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe it was just the streets was still pointing the finger at Fat Tone, or maybe it was just like blood for blood, like they wanted a rapper because they lost a rapper. You know, maybe it was just a tit for tat thing, and it didn't really matter if Fat Tone had something to do with it or not. He was just a rapper from Kansas City that they chose that had to die because Mac Dre got killed out there. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that's the story that came out. So, you know, rest in peace to Fat Tone, Cowboy. Rest in peace to Mac Dre. And this was a quick video, you know what I'm saying, for the my Bay Area, Kansas City, different. I'll tell you, I'm doing different areas. I know I got a big following in New York, and next week I got straight New York videos coming out, Jersey, different things like that, Jersey, Philly. But I like doing stories from all over, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be categorized in New York, even though I do see from the numbers and everything that New York is my biggest following. But I got followers in California, I got viewers in Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida. So this is why I try to touch on a lot of different areas. But y'all, I don't want to ramble to y'all. I'm just giving y'all some info behind the scenes. Now, this is What's the Numbers TV. It's your boy Pole Row. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go check out the Instagram. The email is in the description. And holla at your boy, man, if you got some business you want to talk about. Like I said, man, it's What's the Numbers TV. It's your boy Pole Row. Subscribe to the channel. Follow the Instagram. Hit me on the email. And I'll be back before you know it, man. We out of here. Peace.